Bless everyone. Welcome to a brand new weekly reading. Rissa Vibes here, aka Readings by Rissa. So excited to connect with you as always. Today is a brand new weekly reading where we are going to tap into all of the spirit messages of this week for ease and grace. Today's focus is about focus, actually. The opportunity to learn how to focus and not fold. That's what we're going to be talking about this week. That's the real theme of this week, and we're going to break it down in the spirit messages and in the astrological influences of this week. So let me know how you're doing so far today. Let me know where you're tuning in from live, and go ahead and leave some comments about how you're feeling. Tap into your intuition and just be present with yourself today. Take a couple deep breaths. Today is a beautiful Sunday, and we get to really connect to this web of light community that we've built over the last several years, every single week in these weekly readings. And again, if you are just now watching for the first time, welcome. My name is Rissa Vibes, aka Readings by Rissa, and I am a professional intuitive and intuitive development coach. And I help spiritually curious people activate their intuitive gifts and walk their enlightenment path with ease and grace. And so if you're interested in more work one-on-one or any readings, definitely reach out with the information in the description. But as we go ahead and get into this week, I want to first do a little bit of a review of last week's energy, just to get a nice remembrance of what we experienced last week and what energy we're coming off from as we prepare for this week. So last week's card, the first card that I pulled was the gift of neutrality, which was really encouraging us to find indifference, to find neutrality, to find a presence and a state of stasis, a state of stillness even, where we're not feeling super influenced or overly impacted by certain things, but we're finding a neutrality, okay? So we're being encouraged to find that steady space or that steady stillness in our mind and in our experience. Then in the middle of the work, we got the willpower card, which was encouraging us to continue to stay disciplined in the pursuit of our goals, which was really just affirming more of our abundance season in this harvest season of autumn as we prepare for the winter. Remember last week we talked about preparing for the winter. We had the hunter's moon as well last week, which was the full moon in Aries, the brightest moon before the winter, where it would illuminate the hunter's night sky so that they could even hunt even better and gain more game for the winter. Pretty cool, right? And then at the end of the week, we got the Dark Healing Chamber card, really letting us know that Scorpio season is here, y'all. Scorpio season is here. The Dark Healing Chamber is upon us. Very much a Scorpio card, very much encouraging us to go within, look at our shadow, illuminate things that we haven't looked at or been willing to focus on in a while, and really start to shine the light of consciousness on that so that we can heal that dark energy or that hidden energy or heavy energy within us, okay? Really empowering this week, though, as we step into kind of the integration period from the full moon in Aries. So we're going to talk about that. So let's go ahead and get right into this week's spirit messages for the week of the 24th, October 24th, which is today, all the way until Halloween, which is next Sunday. Shout out to all of you who are celebrating the thinning of the veil portal already and the energy of the spirit world being so close to us and accessible to us. Shout out to all of you who are celebrating any of those holidays, Halloween, Samhain, Dia de los Muertos, and any other holidays that are surrounding that energy of appreciating and giving honor and homage to the spirit world, okay? Because that's what it's all about, and this is really kind of the intuitive season, and so it's really one of my favorite times of the year. So for this week's energy and for the first message I want to talk about is really kind of a integration from the Mercury retrograde that we just experienced. And this first message is all about the conversations that we need to have, okay? The conversations that we've been needing to have that we haven't had yet. These are conversations that we realize we need to have as a post-wisdom from retrograde. Now that we are kind of coming out of the Mercury retrograde shadow phase where it was kind of lingering for a second, even some tech problems and issues last week for me really showed that was a, still lingering energy in our experience. But this week we're really stepping into the wisdom from Mercury retrograde, recognizing what parts of Mercury retrograde were really affecting us and why. For example, in my life, I was experiencing, like I said, some technology issues, and it really made me aware of where I need to build up expertise or even quality in certain tech related things in my life, okay, or in my business as well. So for you, it may have been recognizing more things on a communication basis in relationships. Maybe you recognize from Mercury retrograde that there's a certain way you deliver important conversation that maybe doesn't always resonate with people, and you need to come through with a little bit more expertise and grace and finesse in your conversation, maybe being a little bit more charming or a little bit more considerate in your conversations, right? So just an example, and we are integrating that wisdom. So we're going to use the wisdom from the Mercury retrograde to benefit us moving forward this week, okay? And we're really going to be called to have conversations that we've been needing to have and we're finally realizing we need to have because of that Mercury retrograde season. And not only are we recognizing we have to have those conversations, but now after the retrograde, we're recognizing how to have them most successfully. So we're really supported in our communication and in our ability to be social this week through conversations that may be even a little uncomfortable or deep or heavy, but are still necessary to have. And we're going to feel more confident in having them because of that wisdom. Okay. So anything that you've been shying away from, anything that you've been feeling like, I need to talk to this person about this, but I'm not sure if I'm ready or if it's the right time. It's the right time, okay? And these are conversations that are really going to up-level your experience in that relationship or in that business project or in that connection to self. Whatever conversation you're needing to have and whatever it's around, it's going to up-level that experience, okay? So this is a really great time for the throat chakra to thrive and to be supported and to feel really excited about, what needs to be discussed. All right. And we get to use our communication as an empowerment tool. And we also get to use our communication as a way to connect our intuition to our life in the physical. Okay. When we communicate from an intuitive place and from a place of flow and from a place of wisdom, we actually begin to integrate that same energy into the experience we're having, right? And so we have this spiritual connection that comes through in our conversation. And that really allows for a settling of any tension. It allows for a harmony in the energy. It allows for a healing experience wherever it can be had. And it's just a really beautiful thing to embody. So if you know you're going into one of those conversations and you're going to need some extra support, remember we're in the thinning of the veil portal right now and spirit wants to support you. So call on your angels, call on your guides, call on your higher self, even ask for your higher self to connect to the higher self of the person and to find harmony energetically between you two while you're having that communication, because that can actually help you to be considerate of the person on a spiritual and energetic level even than just a physical, mental, emotional level, which is just taking it one step further, which is always great. All right. I know for me, I've been communicating with my business a lot, the energy of my business. So this can also be resonant for those of you who are working on some projects. We talked about that last week, of really being able to harvest the abundance from the projects you're working on and making sure that you don't give up on the last stretch of those projects being completed. So that can also benefit as well. All right. Let me know if you're resonating. Good to see everyone. Sorry, my chat is a little bit hard to see. Let's see if I can see it. I want to be able to see you all. Okay, there we go. Awesome. See Leslie, see Kevin, see Nico. Okay, cool. All right, everyone. So the next message we'll get into in a second, but I want to go ahead and pull a little quick card on that. The conversations needing to be had that you might not want to have, but need to have. What does Spirit want to guide us on with that? the gratitude card comes up, okay? This is saying that we need to be grateful for the wisdom that has led us to have the conversations that we are going to have, and to feel grateful for the fact that we realize those conversations need to be had, and to recognize how the success of that conversation can bring forth abundance, peace, harmony, so many things. So being grateful for the positive outcome of those conversations before you even have them. Finding gratitude for everything that comes up intuitively around having those conversations. That gratitude is going to be a big fuel for success, okay? It says life is one big and continuous circle of giving and receiving energy, which is so true, right? When we think about conversation, it is an energy of giving and receiving as well, okay? And it says, be thankful for who and what is in your life instead of complaining about what you don't have. So being grateful for the people that you're going to have a conversation with, or the experiences you're about to have a conversation around. Even if it's uncomfortable conversation, find ways to be grateful for the fact that those things are even present in your life, okay? Instead of complaining about what you don't have. And if you focus on gratitude, you'll start to attract prosperity and abundance. Now, this week's reading is called How to Focus and Not Fold, okay? Now this card talks about how to focus on gratitude. That's part of it, okay? Focusing on gratitude is a fuel for not folding under pressure, not folding under insecurity, not folding under doubt, not folding under complacency, etc. Okay, so this is step one. This is one of the ways that you cannot fold, but instead improve your focus, okay? Focus and not fold. Focus on gratitude, because gratitude helps you feel confident. It helps you feel abundant. It helps you feel positive and optimistic, which is exactly the energy you need to stay above any stress or turmoil in your life that may be pressuring you to fold, okay? When you stay in a state of gratitude, you don't feel impacted or influenced or overcome by those negative energies outside of you, because the gratitude energy is such a positive energy that it doesn't allow those other energies to affect you in the ways they had when you didn't have that gratitude under your belt, okay? So gratitude is a big one, and also super important for a transmuting force in conversations that you are meant to have this week that maybe are uncomfortable, that you may not want to have, but you know you need to have based on the wisdom from last week that you gained, okay? All right, let's keep moving on. Let me know how this resonates as well. Let me know what conversations that you're going to be having, with certain people or about certain things, or even with yourself, that you can really claim in the comments. You know, when we claim those things publicly or outside of us, we declare them, we end up really being able to hold ourselves responsible even more. We take more accountability for it, and we really set that intention in motion in the physical realm. So use this live comments to start the ball rolling on the conversations you're meant to have, that you are claiming and committing to have this week, that you know will help you. All right, the next message for this week, October 24th to October 31st, is being positive over pessimistic, okay? Now, it is Scorpio season, and I have not been the best at this. I've been battling with my own shadowy energy, okay? This is part of the energy of the Scorpio season. It makes us see the underworld a little bit. It makes us see the darker depths of experience, and it's part of the wisdom of the Scorpio and the mystery and the magic of the Scorpio energy. So most people would say, I don't want to look at that underworld, dark, heavy energy. I don't want to feel that shadow. I don't want to feel heavy. But that is also a part of life, right? And it's also a beautiful part of life. We actually can gain a lot of information from letting ourselves experience that ebb and flow, okay, of light and dark, that yin and yang. And Scorpio is a really great sign and season to help us explore that, all right? And so now that we are in Scorpio season, we are being forced to see a little bit more pessimistic energy in the world, to even take on a little bit more of a pessimistic perspective. It's part of the natural cycle. It is natural for us right now in this season, but we still need to be positive over pessimistic, okay? We can look at the pessimism, we can look at the heaviness, we can look at the darkness in our world or in our life, or even within ourselves or other people. We can see that for the purpose of being aware of it, right? Because if we don't have that information, that could really damage us in the future, right? By not letting us see what we need to be protective of or protect ourselves from, right? But when we see that pessimism, it's all about what we do with it, right? It's all about what we do with it, okay? It's natural to feel it. It's natural to experience it right now with Scorpio season. But the Scorpio's energy is really great at being the alchemist as well. A master Scorpio is going to see the pessimistic energy and know how to maneuver it, to mold it, and to transform and transmute it into something positive, okay? It doesn't stay. It's not meant to stay in the pessimistic energy. It may dip its toe in. It may even get down to its head in that dark energy or that shadow or that underworld, but it knows how to pull itself out. It goes down there in the depths to look, to explore, to gain information, to understand the other side, right? To find a clear perspective, right? It is even alluding to that gift of neutrality last week. You know, when we are staying in the positive realms and we're not letting ourselves go down to the heavier, darker parts of that experience, then we're actually staying unbalanced. We're not really balanced. But when we go down into the depths as well and then pull ourselves up, we find a gift of neutrality. We understand the underworld and we also understand the higher realms, right? And by having that understanding, we also understand the spectrum of our experience and the spectrum of our character and everything else in the world, which gives us a sense of understanding of the entire existence on this dimensional plane versus just part of it, right? And so we want to really honor the Scorpio energy for that, but we want to make sure that we stay positive over pessimistic, that we only look at that stuff to have information and to use it for the purpose of gaining more wisdom and helping us to have that information that will ultimately help us do what we're meant to do in this world. You know, we're really being called as a collective to release confirmation bias. If you're not familiar with what confirmation bias is when you only mention and focus on information that aligns with what you want to believe or what you feel like is true to you, and you only look at that information, okay? There's a lot of confirmation bias out there in the world right now, okay? Confirmation bias is actually a real life example of what I'm talking about in regards to not having that balanced perspective or being able to have the gift of neutrality and knowing both sides of things. If you're only working from a confirmation bias perspective, where you're only allowing yourself to read and to engage in and to consume articles, information, news, media, conversations, etc., that confirm your one-sided truth, then you are in a confirmation bias experience and you're denying yourself the gift of neutrality and the wisdom, the higher wisdom of knowing all sides of the story and then making your decision. Because when you know all sides of the story, you're able to really understand your truth instead of just choosing a truth that's most comfortable for you and then finding a lot of information to confirm that so you can stay comfortable, okay? So this is really kind of an embodiment in the mass collective of what I'm talking about energetically with Scorpio season. And Scorpio season right now is forcing us to see where those imbalances are and how they are being represented in our experience, okay? Does that make sense? Let me know. Yes, called out on your shadow work, Natalie. I feel you. Kevin, shout out to you. Scorpio season. Shout out to everybody, all the Scorpios. Happy solar return to all of you. Super fun, and we appreciate you. So there's that understanding, okay? And there is a mystery to the Scorpio season as well that kind of encourages us to look into information that we maybe aren't used to looking into, or to explore things that we normally wouldn't go looking and exploring and adventuring into, to tap into parts of ourselves that have been mysterious to us that will help us to have more information about who we truly are and what is our truth, okay? So all of that experience is showing up in the mass collective and within our personal lives, okay? But be positive over pessimistic, and that's really going to help you, okay? Don't shy from the pessimism. Don't ignore it, but still stay positive. Don't let the pessimism or the darker parts or the shadow work force you into only seeing it from that perspective, because then you're really denying the alchemy of that, okay? The alchemy of that. So confirmation bias, another part of confirmation bias before I pull this card is imbalanced inquiry, okay, where we're, only seeking to know things, and we're only researching and seeking information on the side of our truth, or on the side of what we decide is our truth, versus seeking information on what we agree with, and also seeking information and asking questions and reading articles or talking to people who believe in another perspective. When we expand ourselves into inquiring about information on that confirms and denies our perspective, we get all the information we need that helps us to really make even more of a clear perspective decision, okay? We end up being able to change our mind a little bit. We end up being able to fine-tune what we find was true. We're able to find more information on how to confirm and feel confident in what we know or don't know. And we find ways to research more in order to keep that going. So information, imbalanced inquiry is also something we want to avoid, okay? So confirmation bias we want to avoid, imbalanced inquiry we want to avoid as well. And of course, cognitive dissonance, which is another version of that in the mass collective. We see that kind of everywhere on all sides of things, especially with the pandemic and the vaccine situation. The cognitive dissonance is really when you start to talk to somebody and, you start to invite them to listen or perceive things differently, or listen to new information, or perceive things differently, or just even hear out a different perspective. And as soon as you start to invite some new information into the conversation versus what they think they know, they shut down, or they have anxiety, or they get defensive, and they do not want to hear or connect to anything that doesn't line up with their cognitive alliance. Okay, so the cognitive dissonance is the opposite of cognitive alliance, where they're feeling a dissonance with whatever you're saying, and thus they want to align more to their perspective. They don't like the disharmony of the dissonance, right? So they instantly feel like, nope, I don't want to align to that. I'm not going to think about that. I'm only going to stay in my cognitive alliance, and I have complete dissonance to what you're saying, right? So that really is a big one too. So we want to be paying attention to that, because all of that stuff is starting to surface even more in the government stuff, the social stuff, the media, just the mass collective conversations I'm hearing happening at every restaurant I go to or every event I'm at, and I'm just seeing more and more of the confirmation bias problems, the cognitive dissonance on both sides, on all sides, the imbalanced inquiry. And we really need to take some deep breaths, get present, and feel into our intuition, because we don't have to all agree, and we don't have to all make the same decision. We shouldn't be forced to all have to make the same decision, and we all should be able to honor the spiritual sovereignty that we all have in our own intuition. And if we can all do the work to eradicate cognitive dissonance and imbalanced inquiry and confirmation bias, then maybe we'll all find the real truth underneath all the separatism. Maybe there is a more harmonious truth for all if we can all choose to look at each other's sides of things and have conversations about a solution versus conversations about separation, right? So I believe in conversations about solutions over conversations about separation. Let me know if you agree in the comments below. Let me know how that resonates. And let me know how you may be able to use that awareness in your own life also to help take some of the pressure off of you if you've been feeling it. All right, so with that message, that long message of being positive over pessimistic, thank you for letting me rant on that, everyone. We get this beautiful energy, which I just love. As a result of being positive over pessimistic, we unlock our prosperity. So a lot of people are going to be noticing that they experience maybe a lot of lack, or maybe some hits financially, or some hits, in certain ways of their prosperity. And that's normal right now because we're going through a lot in this world. But in order to counter that, we have to be positive over pessimistic, because being pessimistic is only going to aid more lack. But if we can be positive over pessimistic and use what we're seeing on a heavy scale as a way to understand what we need to understand to help build our prosperity, letting us learn what we need to invest in differently, letting us learn what we need to do for our business to adapt to the changing times, letting us know how we can prepare for what may be to come based on what's going on right now that will ultimately help with our prosperity. That's how we use the pessimism to make us prosperous. We see it, we look at it, and then we find a solution, we get prepared, and we stay positive to activate more prosperity. It says, let go of the past and embrace change, right? We're seeing change, so embrace it. Opportunities are close at hand, so don't be pessimistic about anything because opportunities are close at hand. Hop into this new day with joy, and abundance and good fortune await you, okay? So being positive over pessimistic, despite the Scorpio season, is going to really bring in some more abundance. All right, next message is also kind of along the lines of that prosperity energy or positivity, and that's the message of being explorative, adventurous, and curious. This week is calling us to be that way in our lives. This is going to help us to not be so pessimistic, but instead have an inner child perspective, okay? So if there's anything that you end up facing this week that feels heavy or dark or revealing of your shadow or other people's shadow or the shadows of life because of Scorpio season, instead of getting upset about it, see if you can explore what you're finding. Is there information that you're being called to research more about with that? Are you meant to study that energy as to help yourself know it so you can protect yourself from it from moving forward? Are you meant to be adventurous with your own expression of energy and start finding ways to play with transmuting some of the heavy stuff into a positive perspective, or maybe countering it with some fun, adventurous experiences? And be curious, get to be familiar, get familiar with this relationship you have with positivity and the relationship you have with pessimism. If you can start to be curious and reflect on your relationship with each, you may find a lot of information this week that will really help you and aid you in more intuitive connection. Analyze and have fun being curious about your relationship with positivity and your relationship with pessimism. And if you find that you have a closer bond with pessimism than you do with positivity, find ways to change that trajectory, transform it, explore creative ways to counteract that bond or that closeness you have with pessimism, okay? Because really, a lot of these changing times and a lot of these heavier times are challenging us for the purpose of challenging our faith and challenging our resilience and challenging our light and the power of our light, really making us, build our light to the degree it needs to be to counter the heaviness, right? We're being trained as light warriors, as light workers in this spiritual war that could very well become more than that, right? And we already know it's also a mental war and decisions, right? We talked about that the last couple of weeks. We're seeing the war of decisions, the war on decisions for your body. We see the abortion laws in Texas going to the Supreme Court. We see the laws and the mandates of the vaccine, these pressures to decide what is best for your body against maybe what you think is best for your body or what you feel is best for your body, right? These wars based on decisions we're meant to make for our betterment of humanity and ourselves, right? So that's kind of a mental war happening, right? And even at times it's a spiritual war, even in those areas pretty clearly, because it's based on a lot of faith and trust and, religious values and people, coming to head about whether that's moral or just and things like that. And then we're also going to see, it is a physical war because it's our physical body too, right? But we may see other versions of that. And so what we need to do is just acknowledge, that this may be true, right? That this is maybe sad and unfortunate and heavy and hard to face, but it may be very true. And so if it is that, we need to prepare ourselves. We need to stay positive. We need to stay in our harmony of our light and strengthen our light and strengthen our faith, because that's what's got us here in the first place. That's what's kept us strong and resilient and supported in the first place, right? So we need to lean more into what has gotten us here, what has helped us to get where we are, which is, connected to source even more, more confident in our sovereign light, more confident in our ways to protect our energy, more capable of healing ourselves than we ever have been, more conscious of the ways our body and our spirit are able to heal ourselves, all of those things, right? So we're recognizing how we've been trained for this, but sometimes we're not recognizing and embodying it, right? We're recognizing it, and when we look at it, right? When I say that, I'm sure all of you can kind of see like, oh yeah, we have been trained for this. But in the moment when we're going through those pressures, when we're feeling like we want to fold under the pressure, or under the oppression, or under the heaviness, it's harder to focus on the fact that we're being trained for this. So that's number 2, okay? The first one was gratitude is how you focus and not fold, okay? Focusing on gratitude. Number 2 is really allowing yourself to recognize that you've been trained for this, okay? And that you can use what you've learned about your spirit and the resilience and your healing capabilities and your intuitive gifts to stay focused on where you're going and not folding under the pressure of other things trying to distract you from what you're wanting to create in your life and what you believe is true and best for you, okay? The card comes up, patience, okay? So we are being called to be patient through this moment and phase of exploration, adventurousness, and curiosity. This is a information time in our human history. And it's going to take some sifting through all the information and disclosure that's coming up for us all to really agree on one truth, or for us to really feel like we have a solid awareness of what's really going on. There's so much disconnection from reality. We've got virtual reality, we've got media, we've got whatever the government is showing us, and then whatever's going on really in the background. We have multiple realities that we experience in our own life, our inner reality versus our outer reality. And in that, there's a lot of information to sift through to find what's really, really real. And the truth is, humanity doesn't know. It doesn't know what's real and what's true yet. A lot of people have their ideas on both sides or on multiple sides, but we're all seeking to find the truth. And we have to be patient as we sift through the information. And we have to keep being explorative, keep being curious, keep being adventurous as we do, and not be so wrapped up in separatism or defensiveness or heaviness around it. We can be patient and excited for when that truth is revealed. And in the meantime, not get stressed or worried about it, right? Because Source will always give us the answer when we're meant to have it in divine timing, okay? So the next message is finding yourself again, okay? Finding yourself again. We are being called to find ourselves again. A lot of us are going through a little identity crisis in our own ways. Maybe everything in our life has shifted completely, or maybe we have shifted completely internally, which is making us want to shift everything in our life completely. Whichever it is, we are wanting to find ourselves again. And this week we're being called to do that through shadow work, through really getting into the nitty gritty of who we are on both the positive side and the heavy side, right? The shadow side, the light side and the shadow side. And so we want to really find ourselves again by exploring both, by looking at both, and by being honest about what we see in ourselves that we don't want to see and we're ready to change and alchemize, right? With that Scorpio energy and that mystery, facing it so that we can move it into something else. And also what we love about ourselves that we want to keep amplifying and keep fine-tuning and keep presenting and expressing into the world, okay? So this week we want to find ourselves again, and we have to acknowledge that we've changed a lot in order for us to really find our new self. So we really want to focus, here's another one, focus on finding ourselves again, and don't fold under the pressures that everyone else is putting on you to conform to their perspective of how you should be, or to be who they expect you to be, or who they want you to be, or who they thought you are, right? This time, we want to be who we know we are, who we know we want to be, who we know we were meant to be, okay? And we don't want to fold on any of that, okay? So another part of how to not fold under the pressure of what we're going through right now is by finding yourself and really devoting your focus to finding the real you and not letting anyone outside of you or any distractions or any influences get in the way of that path of finding who you are now, okay? Because we've changed, we've evolved. You know, ever since around 2012, humanity started waking up. So maybe you had your awakening in 2012, or maybe you had it in 2014, or maybe you're like me and you had it around 2015-ish, but it went really quick, right? However your path was, right? We were all waking up around the same time, and now that we're at that level of really knowing so much more, and we've changed so much based on what we've known and what we learned over the last few years, we want to find ourselves again. Who are we now as this evolved person in this now newly evolving world? And how do we want to show up? And what do we need to focus on and not fold under in order to show up that way? Okay? Super powerful. Let's see what the cards say with that. A little healing with the angels. Ooh, so part of finding ourselves again brings us blessings, and this is so beautiful. I actually pulled a card for one of 6 really beautiful girls, beautiful goddesses, beautiful souls that I did a little psychic party for on Friday. It was really fun, a little virtual psychic party. I did like 6 readings in a very short amount of time. It was so fun. And if you're interested in a group reading for your tribe, I'm definitely available for that. But one of the cards I pulled for one of them was blessings, and it was also related to kind of her need to find herself, and that there's blessings on the other side of that. So really cool how that's coming up again, and so sweet. So finding yourself again is going to bring blessings, okay? Because when we find ourselves again, when we find who we truly are based on the evolution of our spirit over time, we start to align with our true path. And as we align to our true path, we instantly step into the blessings that are along the way of our true path, that are meant for us, okay? So beautiful. Oh, thank you for the Super Chat donation, Leslie. I appreciate the love. Thank you. Super Chats are always so nice to receive. I appreciate it. But yeah, so really recognizing the blessings that can come from finding yourself and not giving up, not folding under the pressure or the distractions that keep you from finding yourself. Because you're really, when you do that, you're really denying yourself of a ton of blessings. Probably the exact blessings that you're wanting so desperately. So don't deny yourself of blessings by folding under pressure. Okay? All right, let's see how everybody's doing. Graciella's here, observer, witness, allowing awareness, spirit guide me, Rissa, everyone. Yes, love that. Houston's here, good to see you. 2017 is when you woke up. Awesome. Yeah, everybody comment your year. I guarantee you will probably see a bunch of years between 2012 and now. So comment what year you woke up, or what year you felt like you started to wake up spiritually, or have your enlightenment path begin in this journey. And I'm wondering how many will be in that year time frame. because it is really a mass collective thing, which is so cool to see. All right, so next message is, what lies are you chasing? Okay, so part of finding yourself is also being real with what lies you're chasing, right? What false perceptions of success or false assumptions in relationships, or what unrealistic perspectives have you attached yourself to that has kept you from who you truly are, or has limited you from finding your true self, finding your true path, finding your true tribe, finding your true purpose. It's all connected, okay? It's all connected. And so this week is a powerful week, y'all, because we're about to get into the energy of the last phase of 2021. We're actually right there on the cusp of the last quarter, right? The last phase of 2021. And in that last phase, we have to reflect really deeply on who we have become and who we're ready to be. And if we aren't ready to be anybody more evolved than who we've been, we're going to end up looping the same experience, the same consciousness in 2022. And I know with the same consciousness, we're only going to manifest the same results. So if we want something different, if we want something better, if we want something more prosperous and amazing and successful in our life, we have to do the work that we're doing this week to pay attention to what false premises or false energies we've been focused on or attached to that do not match who we are meant to become, who we are evolving into, and what path is truest to us, okay? So find that out. Ask yourself, what lies am I chasing? What false perceptions am I attaching myself to based on success? Is it a false perception that money buys happiness? Is it a false perception that nobody is going to listen to your new content? Is it a false perception that you aren't meant for this path that you've been stepping into, that you're going to fail, right? False assumptions in relationships. Are you assuming you'll be alone forever? Are you assuming that you're never going to find somebody, that's going to match to your energy? Are you assuming that it's always the other person that's to blame, and you're not taking on responsibility for your part of things in relationships, right? Not looking at reality is the last part of it, okay? Are you choosing to ignore what's right in front of your face because it's uncomfortable or it's not aligned to what you want? Are you, not looking at your true self or your true shadow and illuminating that so that you can manifest something better, right? Are you not looking at what's really going on in the world because it's uncomfortable, and as a result you're staying ignorant to how to make the choice that's best for you, right? Are you letting conformity be your sovereignty, right? Ooh, don't let conformity be your sovereignty. What? That one came through pretty clear. So don't let that happen, right? Your sovereignty is your sovereignty. It's not meant to be conformity. Those are opposite, okay? Those are opposite. So feel into what lies you may be chasing right now. Goddess Isis wants to help us with that. And then we're going to get right into the last bit of these messages. I don't want to take up too much time. I don't want the camera to die, but if it does, then we'll switch batteries quick. But it seems like we're okay right now. All right, what lies are we chasing? Goddess Isis, help us out. Oops, that was my fault. That wasn't her. I dropped that card. Let's see what she's got for us. All right, there's one coming out of the deck. Oops, do we have two? I think we have two. Okay, High Priestess and Divine Destiny, okay? So High Priestess is all about really understanding, and using our intuition to reveal things. And it says, the High Priestess card, it says a mystery is to be unveiled, okay? Maybe this is the mystery of what lies we are chasing, right? A new clarity around our direction is unfolding, okay? So we're no longer going to chase the lies because we're going to find that mystery unveiled, and we're going to have a new clarity that points us in a new direction. It says be willing to wait for the full reveal. So give yourself patience to reveal all of the collective lies you may be chasing, or the collective false premises. Really get clear. Take your time to really study that so you have all of them in your awareness. But also recognize what is happening at this time, it says. You will be gaining valuable insight into where you are being led and for what purpose as you go through that process of unveiling the mystery of what lies you are chasing. Then it says the Divine Destiny card. It says the Divine Warrior is within you. We just talked about being the Light Warrior and how we're being trained through these heavy times to activate this Divine Warrior energy. And it says it's within you, helping you to continue with a worthy path even during times of difficulty. Amazing. When faced with a challenge, a true warrior will summon more of him or herself to the cause. Okay, we're being called to summon more of ourselves to the cause by studying ourselves, by stepping into our power, by claiming our sovereignty, by showing up as the real us, okay? And it says it might be by bringing more wisdom, focus, or intelligence into our experience, or surrendering into the divine, right? Leaning into our light. The warrior within has great inner resourcefulness and determination. So that warrior within is going to help us to move through any contrast as we recognize and as we separate from the lies we are chasing, okay, or the false presumptions or the falsehoods of our reality. All right, powerful stuff. This is like crazy, right? Grace Taylor says 2004, not knowingly, but crashed 2012, and now you're here. Yes, love it. Anybody else? Anybody else? What year did you wake up? What year did you wake up? I want to see in the comments. All right, so pretty powerful cards from Goddess Isis with the High Priestess and Divine Destiny card in relation to what lies are we chasing. We definitely don't want to ignore that. Super important shadow work this week, okay? Ask yourself that and use it to help you find yourself again. All right, the next message, the world is changing right before our eyes, okay? As we do this shadow work within ourselves, the world is also experiencing its own version of that. We're seeing the surfacing of contrast in every way. We're seeing the evolution. We just saw a big volcano hit Japan and erupt. We're seeing a lot of volcanic eruptions showing up more so in the last couple of years, and I think they're going to continue. I've had lots of visions about that. Also more earthquakes as well showing up and have been over the last couple of years. I think there's going to be a continuation of that. We've talked about it in several readings. I've seen visions of that as well. Even fires, in 2015 and really 2016 as well. I used to get a lot of visions about fires, earthquakes, volcanoes erupting, really big natural disasters hitting the world, and really changing the way the world is. And we're also seeing that happening, the shifts happening, blow-ups happening in government, blow-ups happening in, social structures, in media, even in and across the states, in violent outbursts of rage from different people, lots of school shootings, lots of random shootings in different areas as well. The world is changing right before our eyes. And of course, we're seeing that pessimistic stuff, but we also want to look at the positivity. Look at how many more people are waking up every day. Look at how many more people know about meditation. Look at how many more people are looking outside of the Western medicine model because they don't trust it anymore. And now they're looking to holistic healing, and they're going back to their roots of recognizing their natural healing of their bodies, right? We did the Shining Light on Holistic Healing series, which was very, very popular last year, and I encourage you all to go watch that replay again if you've watched it last year or you didn't get a chance to see it. Either way, the replay will definitely remind you of the potency of those messages even today. We're seeing revolutions happening where injustices are being surfaced and shown under the light. The shadow of injustice is being shown under the light to be revealed and to be transmuted into more justice for all, right? We did a Shining Light on Revolution series a year and a half ago, which covers that as well. Great for replay. So recognizing all the positivity in the way the world is changing, and knowing that sometimes it takes those difficult things or those negative things or those tragic things in order for the world, and even for ourselves personally, sometimes it takes those tragedies in our personal life for us to see really what is not working in our world and in our experience and within ourselves that we need to change for something better, okay? So that's what we're experiencing. We're seeing the literal transmutation of that. I'm going to pull a dragon card since a lot of that energy was fiery, the volcanoes, the wildfires, the natural disasters, kind of the earth energy heating up. So what do our dragon spirits, plus our dragon spirits are also so protective. and mystical. So what are they saying for us? Ooh, Dragon Awakening is our card. Dragon Awakening. And it says, it is easy to slip back into sleep, human child. What? We do not need to do that. Which I love that, for the world is changing right before our eyes, right? Don't slip back into sleep. We can't let the world go backwards now that it's started to awaken. It says the world does not want you to remember. The world is changing and the world does not want you to remember, but we will never let you forget the magnificence of your being. We will awaken you, okay? So this is all about the fact that the world is changing right before our eyes, and there's a lot of pressure to descend our consciousness with that changing of the world. But instead of descending our consciousness into more pessimism or fear or just unconscious programming, we need to awaken. We need to keep waking up. We need to not go back to sleep, and we need to keep waking up as the world changes right before our eyes. And part of that momentum is staying positive and looking at the positive changes and looking at the 5D experience we're manifesting through this, okay? Y'all with me? Let me know if y'all with me. Okay, last message before we get into astrology is the theme of this week's reading, which is focus, don't fold. Let yourself set a direction, okay? Let yourself set a direction and release distraction, okay? That's the last kind of message I have for you and advice I have for you in regards to how to focus and not fold, is to set a direction and release distractions, okay? Focus encourages and expects and requires you to align to a certain direction. Whether you're focusing on finding yourself again and you align to that study of self and exploration, whether you focus on being positive over pessimistic and you let yourself focus in on that direction or path, whether you focus in on the conversation that you have to have this week, based on the message earlier, right? Setting a direction and intention for that focus or that conversation. By setting that direction, you are putting your bullseye into focus, okay? You're putting your outcome, your goal into focus, all right? And then when you release distractions, anything outside of you, and some of the distractions can be people's perspectives, other people's fears, other people's opinions, right? Part of the distractions can be partying a lot, or a ton of bad habits that you used to do that you've let yourself not do anymore, but you're getting tempted back into, right? Some distractions can be media, right? Or even just food can be a distraction, right? We talked a couple weeks ago about emotional eating, right? So making sure you set a direction for what you want the outcome to be. What is your focus? What is your plan? Set the direction in place, and then release any distractions that could impact or influence or get in the way or harm your focus, okay? By doing that, you are going to not fold under pressure because you've set your direction, so you know where you're going, and you're not going to let anything get in the way of that. And you've released distractions, so you're not going to let anything take you somewhere else, right? So focus and don't fold, okay? And part of that focusing and not folding is having faith over fear. We talked about faith over fear all the way last year, maybe even before that. Goodness, how long ago were we talking about faith over fear? I want to say that was the 2020 theme all the way back in 2019, right before everything happened. We talked about faith over fear, and then it became really a theme in 2020 and 2021. So really quite a long time ago. We're being reminded now to have faith over fear again, and have that be part of our focus. And when we have faith over fear, we can't fold under fear, okay? We can't fold under fear. We can't fold under doubt or insecurity. We end up staying in that faith, okay? Our card from the Mary Magdalene deck is color. I love this card for this. It says really energy of vibrancy. It says to really be present with this card, okay? The color card is really to recognize the spectrum, right? The spectrum of color, the spectrum of light, the spectrum of experience in our life, right? Maybe the spectrum of focus that we have available, even the spectrum of distraction we have available. And we're being called to focus on the color we want to focus on, right? Do you want to focus on the bright, vibrant, happy colors, or do you want to focus on the dark, scary, depressive colors, right? Or do you want to focus on the entire spectrum and appreciate the rainbow for what it is and find your truth every day based on that, right? I choose the latter. I like the spectrum. I believe, you know, when we choose our path, when we choose our outcome, this is kind of also alluding to finding that outcome, that scene of your outcome, setting the direction towards the scene of your outcome, and then letting yourself line up to all the colors that make up that scene. Okay, you can see it that way as well. But when we do that, we end up surrendering to faith, because we may not have all the details as we set that direction and move towards it. We may not have all the details that we expect to have as we journey in that direction. But if we use our faith over fear, we know that we will get to the outcome, that destination that we've set, okay? Really beautiful energy. And we can appreciate all the colors that show up along the way, okay? All right, everyone, let's do some astrology really fast. The first astrological influence is Venus in Sagittarius square Neptune in Pisces on the 26th, so 2 days from now, which is Tuesday. This is really encouraging us not to be fooled by any embellishments, okay? The Venus in Sagittarius is going to really embellish pleasure and happiness and like all these amazing things, adventurousness. It might even have us spend more money thinking that we're like super rich or we've got all this going on. But then we square Neptune and Pisces, and Neptune and Pisces is kind of revealing some illusions and not letting us get too wrapped up in fantasy. So we want to make sure we're not letting the Venus in Sag get us too wrapped up in something that actually is not realistic, okay? Don't be fooled by embellishments on the 26th. Then on the 28th, another Venus influence, Venus in Sag again, sextile Jupiter in Aquarius. This is actually going to give us a really nice connection to the Venus in Sag, where we're going to be encouraged to be adventurous and curious and have fun and explore, like we talked about in the spirit messages. But this is going to be adventure time with friends, social experiences, lots of prosperity in that connection to being uniquely ourselves and true to ourselves while being adventurous and in places that we find pleasurable or environments that we feel connected and comfortable in. Then on the 30th of October, we've got Mars entering Scorpio. Okay, so that's going to be a pretty powerful energy. We're going to feel some confliction between strategy versus manipulation. So some of us will be leaning more towards strategy and being able to really use that action-oriented, passion-oriented Mars with the Scorpio energy of, you know, kind of maneuvering to our advantage, and we're going to be able to find some strategy to help us. But then some of us will be noticing some manipulative energy within ourselves or within others, where we're noticing that Mars energy takes on a little bit of shadow with the Scorpio energy, and the Scorpio maybe makes the Mars even more shadowy, so we see some manipulation or control. So we want to be observant of strategy versus manipulation within ourselves and outside of ourselves, making sure not to align with manipulation, whether it's being manipulated by others or manipulating others, right? Stay on the strategy side of things. Don't try to force something that isn't meant to be, but instead strategize something, and if it doesn't work out, then let it be, okay? The Sun in Scorpio is also square Saturn on October 30th, square Saturn in Aquarius. So this is where we're going to see some of that pessimism be even more present, some moodiness showing up, some responsibilities and obligations maybe making us feel a little heavy. That's that Saturn energy kind of holding us accountable for what we need to do, our unique lessons we need to learn, and the Sun in Scorpio illuminating the shadow of us not learning those lessons and what we need to do to get back on track to learning them, okay? Pretty powerful. Then, of course, we have October 31st, which is Halloween, and Samhain, which is the holiday of celebration of the spirit realm and our connection to the spirit, our ability to communicate with the spirit realm. So I encourage all of you to do a little ceremony on Samhain or Halloween. Maybe do some meditation, maybe do some spirit message practices, maybe get a reading. If you need a reading, I'm always available for you. That can be a fun little way to connect to spirit. Maybe get connected with your friends and do a little holiday ceremony where you all maybe do some fun rituals together to connect to spirit, or you set some intentions together for manifestation, whatever it is, okay? That's going to be a really great day to connect to spirit and to our shadows, because we are in Scorpio season and the shadow work is real this week, y'all. So don't forget that we are also going to be really, really, really forced to face our shadow this week. Now, I am also participating in a little ritual for Halloween, and I'm pulling our weekly cards, by the way. I already got the first beginning of the week, middle of the week. I'm pulling the end of the week now. But my Halloween holiday or Samhain holiday celebration and ritual is going to be to release my music video for Shadow Work from my recent album, Hippie Vixen. And I'm going to be releasing that on October 31st, likely at midnight on the 31st. So, and that would be 12 a.m. on October 31st. So it'll play all day. But I will be releasing that music video. So keep focused on my Instagram at Readings by Rissa and at Madam_Rissa for my music page. Definitely follow my music page. My music page does not get enough love, y'all. It just does not get enough love. Actually, I would really appreciate it if you all followed my music page. Nico, if you can help me out, put it in the comments at Madam_Rissa so everybody knows where to follow my music page at, because it definitely needs more love, y'all. I get a lot of love on my Readings by Rissa page, and I know y'all love my music too, but I just don't have the same audience on there. But I will be releasing my Shadow Work music video on those Instagram accounts, and on YouTube really is where it will be premiered. So definitely pay attention to my Instagram pages for all of the pre-promotion of that music video this week. I'm going to be releasing some behind the scenes of when I recorded the song. I'm going to release some, maybe some photos or video of when we filmed the music video, and just some other fun content leading up to the music video release on the 31st for Halloween. So of course, I'm always going to give you something on a very powerful, intuitive holiday, which I am giving you this upcoming week on the 31st. So it'll be fun to hear what you think of the music video when we meet again next week at 1:11 p.m. Central Time for another weekly reading. So by then you'll have had the opportunity to watch. So definitely please watch it so I can hear what you think on our next live. And I'm super excited as well. Yes, love it, love it, love it. Thank you all for the love and support of Hippie Vixen. Yeah, if you haven't heard my new album, Hippie Vixen, is on all streaming services, every streaming service, Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube. It's on everything under Rissa Vibes. Hippie Vixen is the album, okay? So check it out, let me know what you think, and get ready for Shadow Work. It's gonna be awesome. Also, last thing I want to mention is that I'm going to be sending out my emails to those of you who want to be on the early pre-order list for the extra discount off of my products that I'll be releasing on my virtual store in the next few weeks. So if you want to learn about what products I'm offering, and you want to get the opportunity of ordering those products before anyone else, definitely email me, readingsbyrissa@gmail.com, and do it today. If you don't do it today, then you may not make it on the early pre-order. You most likely won't, because I will be closing that list in the next couple of days. Instagram is also going to be a good resource for you to follow, but I'm not really talking about it. I'm only talking about it on YouTube because I only wanted to offer the early pre-order for those of you who really, really wanted it and really follow me. And usually you are the ones that watch these YouTube weekly readings. So I wanted to offer it to all of you first and foremost. So if you are one of those people, definitely email me today, readingsbyrissa@gmail.com, and I will be sending out an email discussing the pre-order options with you before I promote it to the public. Okay. All right, loves, let's go ahead and see what our last cards are. These are the cards summarizing our week. The beginning of the week card is Rejoicer. Okay, reminding us to be positive over pessimistic. Rejoice, celebrate, be excited, use that energy of gratitude, that energy of prosperity that we talked about in the beginning of the week. Even the blessings card came up as well, and patience, right? All of that really recognizing an opportunity to rejoice, giving us a reason to celebrate. Okay, so in the beginning of the week, we're going to feel that celebration, and we're going to want to stay in the vibration of celebration to manifest more reasons to celebrate. Okay? Middle of the week card is faith. Faith over fear. What? We talked about this. So reminding us to be faithful. Thank you, Spirit, for always showing up for us in confirmation with these cards, letting us know that faith in the middle of the week is important for us. So that may be when we're really facing our shadows and we need to have that faith over fear is in the middle of the week. Okay, so Spirit's saying, hey, use the rejoice card in the beginning of the week to really build up that energetic momentum towards positivity. And then in the middle of the week, we may really need that positivity and be adding faith to it even more to get us through any shadow work or any pessimism or any journeys through finding ourselves again as well that we talked about. Okay. And then at the end of the week, we have the enough card saying we are enough. It says itself, you were born enough. Okay. So through the shadow work, we recognize that we are enough and it's all divine. Okay. We are meant to be who we are. All right, y'all, my camera's about to die, so I'm done with y'all today. I love you so much. It's been so great to connect. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you next week for another weekly reading at 1:11 p.m. Central Time, right here on YouTube. Make sure you stay connected to my Instagram at Readings by Rissa and at Madam_Rissa for all the updates on when I will be posting my shadow work video. And check it out there. All right. I love you so much. Email me for those pre-orders of the products. Peace.